What is going on, YouTube? Lone Piece of Gamer here, bringing you another Diablo 3 video. I'm going to be covering a couple of different specs of this monk build. This is a follow-up to the cold build I did in a few videos ago. Essentially, what this is exploding palm build. It can be with any elemental damage that you'd like, cold, fire, whatever. I'm using cold at the moment. Just like I was in the previous episode. Here's my sheet damage, my toughness, my recovery. We're going to talk a little bit about why we're wearing what we're wearing. And this build focuses a lot around cooldown reduction, CDR, and getting your exploding palms out there and making sure that those guys die quick enough so that your exploding palm continues. And it's also used for crowd control and survivability. It's very tough, very good at CC, somewhat decent at elite damage, and very good at clearing out trash. So it's a very good group build if you're going to be running in like a 4-man group or something, and you want to help out a little bit, be tanky, and use your crowd control while applying exploding palm, which is devastating to most things and almost necessary on a monk. So let's take a look at the gear first. We're running 4-piece Senwukos. Now the stats on these on this gear here does matter, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. So Senwukos, we got the Senwuko shoulders. You want your main stat, your vitality, resistances, cooldown reduction, gloves, dex, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, 8% cooldown on this one. These gloves are fucking perfect. These gloves are awesome. And then to top it off, we have the Senwuko amulet, dex, crit damage, crit chance, socket of course. And in the socket on this particular gem, I'm running the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard for life regen. And you can see my recovery is 2.9 mil, which is pretty damn good. It could be higher, but that's what it is. Next set we're going to talk about is the Born set. This is going to be giving us the 10% cooldown reduction, and bonus experience is just a plus. So we got the chest here with Dex Fit armor. It could be Dex Fit, light percent, res, whatever you're able to get with 3 sockets. And then we have an Ancient Born sword here, 2748. On the sword, cooldown reduction on this and resource cost on this as well, with the gem in there. Before we go any further, I forgot to mention the Senwuko 4-piece set. The 4-piece set allows you to, whenever you use Lashing Tail Kick in this particular build or Exploding Palm or Cyclone Strike, you spawn a decoy, and the decoy looks like this, the little guy that spawns there for a second. What will happen is he will explode, and when that guy explodes, I gain 500% damage for 3 seconds when using my Lashing Tail Kick, Exploding Palm, Tempest Rush, or Wave of Light, or whatever skills you decide to use. But for this particular build, it's Cyclone Strike and Exploding Palm and Lashing Tail Kick. Okay, so next set we're talking about is Captain Crimson's set here. We have the pants with Dex Fit Res, 2 socket, and then we got the belt, Dex Fit Res, percent life. And this allows us to have 10% resource cost reduction as well as 10% cooldown, and a little bit of res there as well, and regen, life regen. So that's good. So between the Crimson set and the Born set, we get 20% cooldown right there. And we talked about this Born sword also has 10% cooldown on it as well. So we got the Senwukos covered, the Borns covered, the Crimson covered. Let's go ahead and talk about the other legendary pieces we have. First is going to be the Helm. Larry's Crown is almost a must on this because you sock it with a diamond. You get twice the amount of cooldown that you get otherwise. So this particular one is 93% increase of the diamond socketed. So we got Dex Fit and crit chance on there. I got to get that to a 6, but that is what it is. Then of course we got the Leoric's Signet here for our first ring. Dex, crit damage, crit chance socket. This is good because it reduces the duration of control impairing effects by 20%. Tagok is a gem in this one. I gain 0.5% increased damage for 3 seconds after spending a primary resource, which we're doing constantly. This effect stacks up to 63 times. And I also gain 0.5% increased armor for every stack. So that divides 63 by 2. That's 31.5% increased armor, so your toughness goes up if that's at max stack. Second ring here is Ring of Royal Grandeur, of course. Could have a better one. I would like it to be Dex, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, but this is what I got. Bane of the Trapped in here, which increases the damage against enemies under the effects of control and parrying effects, which we have some of, by 27.6%, and we also gain an aura that reduces movement speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%. So very good at crowd controlling there. So we got the rings covered. Let's talk about the bracers here. Gungdo gear. This is a must for anybody running Exploding Palm. I shouldn't say it's a must, but it's almost always used. Cold damage in this case that I have, 6% dex fit. Exploding Palm on death explosion applies Exploding Palm. So when you apply your Exploding Palm and you kill that creature, it therefore transfers on to other creatures around it within a short radius. Second weapon we're using here is Ancient Thunder Fury, simply because it has cooldown reduction on it and the DPS is high for a one-hander. Dex, 10% cooldown, 10% extra damage, and then you get the effect of the lightning there. Now what I'm trying to do now is, since I got the lightning, is switch over to lightning instead of cold. I want this to be lightning, and it's costing me 3 mil to roll these bracers right now, which is why I haven't done so yet. So that's what we have here. So eventually I'm going to go to lightning. Last but not least, we have our boots here. Dex fit, res, movement speed. I do need a little bit better boots. I would like that movement speed to be armor, for instance. Or something else, maybe Lashing Tail Kick damage. And that would work out great, or Exploding Palm. A couple different variations to this build. You could swap out the weapon, the 2 one-handers, for a torch, of course. What this does is it reduces the spirit cost of Wave of Light by 44% in this case, up to a total of 50. And what that allows you to do is spam Wave of Light as a DPS skill, rather than what I'm using, which is Lashing Tail Kick, because this is cheaper than Wave of Light. So you could use this, and you can use Wave of Light at a cheap cost. And if you're going to use a torch, I recommend using this as well. I haven't rolled anything on this. I don't use this because I'm looking for a gift, and probably another torch, because this one also costs 4 mil to roll at 7%. I would like a 10%, but it is what it is. This helm allows Wave of Light to be cast straight at your enemy rather than the area effect. It goes straight to the enemy. So you want to look out for that too. Dex of it, crit chance, of course. You get your increased Wave of Light damage by 21%, so this would be a good combination here to use. A lot of people do use it. I have it, just have not put it on. I like these one-handers here because of a passive skill that I use, and the damage is higher, and I get more cooldown. I get 10% extra cooldown off of this, because this is only 10, and I have 10 in both slots, so I lose 10% cooldown there as well. That's why I'm not really using it. Paragon points, real quick, we'll talk about that. If you want max out movement speed, then rest in dexterity, pretty self-explanatory. Crit chance, crit damage, try to get a 1 to 10 ratio going on. Max out cooldown reduction first, of course. Defense, Resol first, and then percent life, and then armor in this case. In utility, you want resource cost reduction maxed out, then life on hit maxed out, and then rest on area damage. So let's talk about the skills for a little bit. Exploding Palm is our left click. Impending Doom, because we do have the cold Gungdo gear bracers, and rather than have the enemies bleed, it actually deals 6,305% weapon damage as cold if I kill it within 9 seconds, which is a lot of fucking damage, especially when you get a lot of trash around an elite pack or something like that, let alone a Rift Guardian. Secondary right click is a Lashing Tail Kick, Hand of Etar. This is my main DPS when I use it. Simply does 755% weapon damage is cold, and it slows enemies by 80% for 3 seconds for the crowd control. Serenity, Ascension is almost a must in this, just for survivability and higher grade rifts. It basically makes you immune to all things for 4 seconds, which is why CDR comes in handy with a lot of these skills that I'm using, the Serenity, the Mystic Ally, and the Epiphany. Cooldown on this is 20 seconds. Number 2 hotkey is Cyclone Strike to pull enemies in towards me, and it freezes them for 1.5 seconds. That'll come in handy here in a second when I talk about my passives. So it pulls them in, freezes them for 1.5 seconds, does a little bit of damage. Mystic Ally, Air Ally. The Air Ally gives me 100 Spirit right off the bat. Passive, these guys will fight for me. They deal 130% of my weapon damage is physical. Spirit regen is increased by 4. Epiphany, Insight. This could be switched out with Desert Shroud if you're feeling a little bit squishy, but Insight also increases my spirit regeneration per second by 45, and allows you to dash your target for 15 seconds, which is why I don't have Dashing Strike on here. I have a high enough CDR where I don't have to run it. I just pop Epiphany, and then I click on targets, and I'll instantly dash to them. I'll left click on them, and then I'll instantly dash to them, and Exploding Palm will automatically be applied. So I do that a bunch, and then I Cyclone Strike them all in, and then I Lashing Tail Kick. So these are the passives that we're running at the moment. We're running Guardian's Path because we are dual wielding, so we get a 35% chance to dodge incoming attacks. So that ups your toughness quite a bit. If you're using the Torch, this will give you Spirit Regeneration increased by 15%. Harmony, 40% of all single elemental resistances from items. That increases your resistances to all items. So this is again toughness. So toughness. Beacon of Itar, reduce the cooldowns by 20%. Again, cooldown reduction is a must on this of 20% here. And Relentless Assault is what I chose to run because we are freezing stuff quite a bit. So 20% increased damage there. This could also be swapped out for Determination, for instance. Enemies within 12 yards increases your damage by 4% up to a maximum of 20%. You could do that. You could do Seize the Initiative. You could do Resolve. If you're feeling a little bit squishy, but I find that Relentless Assault is pretty damn good. Momentum's also a good thing. If you got high CDR, Epiphany's up all the time, you could even swap out Cyclone Strike for Dashing Strike if you wanted to. That also increases your damage by 20%. I've seen people run Momentum, Relentless Assault, and Determination quite a bit together, and then had Harmony and taken away and just had the cooldown here. So there's different variations you can do, and let me just show you a little bit how this thing works here. So we're just going to go to my traditional place where I like to go is Act 1, the Weeping Hollow. We're going to dismiss our follower here. We don't want him getting in the way. So what I like to do is when I get into a rift or something, I'll pop Epiphany almost right away, or right up until I start seeing mobs. What I'll do is I'll dash in, and it'll Exploding Palm, Cyclone Strike. Oftentimes that kills them. It will kill these guys because these guys are pretty weak. Cyclone Strike and then Lashing Tail Kick if you have to finish them off. But Exploding Palm just wrecks. Let's see if we can get this group here. See how that Exploding Palm is actually transferring when I kill these guys? Like a domino effect almost. That's what you want. So that's essentially the build. What you could do, and let me talk about different variations real quick, on top of what we already discussed. Hopefully I can make the town without getting shot or hit. You son of a bitch. If you're feeling squishy, or you want to do a little bit more of a crowd control type build, if you're running a 4-man or something, what you're going to want to do, and I've tested this and it works out great, is get rid of Lashing Tail Kick. Okay? What you could do here is do Mantra of Salvation, Agility. This will bump your toughness up quite a bit. I went from 22 to 40. That'll allow you to stay alive. Cyclone Strike, pull things in. Apply your Exploding Palm while still having an Epiphany to dash around and Serenity to be immune. You could do that. Or what you could even do is put the Mantra of Salvation, the Agility that we just talked about, put it here where Cyclone Strike is, take Cyclone Strike away, and pop down Inner Sanctuary. Forbidden Palace. Any enemies inside the Sanctuary deal or have 30% more damage to them, so that helps out quite a bit. Or if you're feeling tough enough, you can even take the Mantra of Salvation away and put the Inner Sanctuary here, leaving a Cyclone Strike to pull things in and keep things under control. So that's the different variations of this build. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button below. Please subscribe if you haven't, and stay tuned for more videos. A new monk build will be coming out soon, showcasing the Schaefer's Hammer, this guy here, with the Tempest Rush build. And it's pretty promising. I don't know how high it'll go in Greater Rifts, but it's pretty fun. So I'll have to show you guys that in a little bit. But until then, take care.